But at the end, when the deployments comes in, we need an engineer, right? Is it something that Synngular is solving, like the complete process of writing, deploying, and keeping it market ready?
What we look at Synngular, that the future is not going to be task management. It's going to be more of an outcome management, right? So all these that you're seeing, the change in the way we are working in the world we are right now in.
We have tools that can write the code. We have tools that can design the code, design the platforms.
Software development is not only writing code, right? There are certain things which comes before, and then there are multiple and several steps that needs to be done after, right? And you rightly mentioned that.
They don't start by asking how to write code faster. They asked why building software still feels fragmented. Our guests keep returning to that break between intent and outcomes, generation and deployment, automation and accountability. Their answer isn't another assistant, but ownership. Agents that behave like teams. Systems that carry legacy without collapsing under it. Humans stepping back into judgment, not execution. Today, our guests Kunal and Vinod, builders at Synngular, and this conversation lingers on the shift that's easier to miss. When works stop being about tasks and start being about responsibility.
So, hello, sir. Both of you, first of all, how are you feeling over here at the Web Summit, Qatar?
We are overwhelmed with the response, and I think we have almost achieved what we wanted to come in terms of people having the interest in what we have built. They really like how we are trying to solve a business problem which has been predominantly overlooked by the other AI companies globally. So in short, we are very overwhelmed with our presence at Web Summit.
What do you think? I mean, in terms of presenting different AI solutions in the same playground, what made you stand out?
So what made us stand out is the way we have positioned our offering, our solution when it comes to software development of the AI space. We have seen a lot of companies presenting here in the space of code generation and AI usage, but we have not seen any single startup who is in the same space what we are doing in terms of the holistic approach and taking the Synngular to the enterprise level. So I think that is the differentiation that we see here.
What was the thought behind making Synngular? I mean, there are multiple other AI tools available like Claude, Gemini, or any other brand, right? What made Synngular taking apart from these brands?
Right. So the idea of Synngular came from the problem that we ourselves faced. So we were trying to build a software, and we wanted to hire people to join us and work for us, and we faced a lot of challenges there. And at that particular time, there were a lot of AI coding tools coming up into the market, and when I personally started using those tools, I faced a lot of challenges because still while using AI, I had to do a lot of manual work. So AI was kind of generating a code snippet, and then I had to take it and then do a lot of other things. That's where the idea of Synngular came in. Why not automate the whole end-to-end process? And that's what differentiates us from the other coding tools that we have.
And what do you feel about instead of creating a tool, trying to make the whole process autonomous?
Yeah, so Synngular is more about owning the end to end of the entire SDLC. Whereas we look at other platforms, they're really good, but they're really good at generating ideas, generating code. But there is more after you generate the code for the entire SDLC, right? And that's a big problem. Nobody is actually doing the entire end to end. And the way the other AI tools, the gap is that they're trying to work like assistants in a human driven workflows. Whereas Singular, it owns the entire workflow, right from, you defining the objective, going ahead and breaking it into tasks, executing it, validating it. So it's like complete autonomous ownership of the objective with human control on it in terms of governance, in terms of compliances, boundaries, guardrails.
And how does this complete ecosystem, let's say, we have tools that can write the code, we have tools that can design the code, design the platforms, but at the end, when the deployments comes in, we need an engineer, right? Is it something that Synngular is solving, like the complete process of writing, deploying, and keeping it market ready, not just for the MVP to present to the stakeholders, but making the whole product in a single go, which is market ready?
Right. Very interesting. So, what we look at Singular, that the future is not going to be task management. It's going to be more of an outcome management, right? So, all these that you're seeing, the change in the way we are working in the world we are right now in, is that it is more going to drive towards the outcome. So everything that you talked about, that there is only some piece of things that have been solved, but still remaining left for the humans to work upon. Humans are designed to do a much better and larger work than those manual activities in terms of execution and all that. We think that humans will be more involved in decision making, strategy, governance. That's where we see humans will play a larger role. But all these things, outside of these things, can be done with platform like Singular. And as we think and we see that there are more tools who talks about code generation, and these are focused on greenfield kind of projects, Singular is more focused on brownfield projects where there is legacy products being developed 20 years ago, been there, being continuously used, driving revenue for the company. But you find it to do a modernization of the tool, those migration of those tool, enhancements of those tools. So Singular is a perfect tool to go ahead and do all this heavy lifting of working with brownfield legacy platforms to do all these modernizations, legacy upgrades, enhancements, and so on.
And what do you think?
So,
Of course, the market is going to adapt to such solution very well,
right,
because that's gonna solve the whole chain problem, right?
right.
Uh,
So, sorry. So, to answer this, I think we have to go back to the first question that you asked, that
Yes.
how Singular is different from the coding tools that are already available into the market and people are using it. And so when you ask this, that software development is not only writing code, right?
Yes.
There are certain things which comes before, and then there are multiple and several steps that needs to be done after, right? And you rightly mentioned that it's not only about development, but testing, deployment, getting ready for the market. Not only an MVP toy, but an actual production ready software. So that's where Singular comes in. We have defined the whole software development lifecycle. Singular adapts to those scenarios, those challenges, and then there are several agents. Just like we have a human in a team, we have a team of agents with their own separate responsibilities. They're designed specifically for that specific task, and that's what Singular is. That keeps us apart from the other coding tools, and that's how Singular helps to build production ready, enterprise ready application, not only an MVP kind of thing.
Tell me more about the agentic team.
Right. So, in order to understand how agentic team works in the Singular, we have to look at how actually human work, human teams work. So, let's take an example of a typical software development human team. So you have a project manager, you have a business analyst, you have a developer, you have QA, you have DevOps people, and they're playing their own different set of roles and responsibilities, and depending on the objective of the organization which you want to achieve from that particular software, these people play their own set of responsibilities, roles, and then they do their work, right? Take this and change with AI agents. So how Singular operates is, um, we have set of different agents having these roles played by them, and we work on the larger objective that what we want to achieve with this particular piece of software or module or whatever it may be. And the moment we set the objective and the goal, the respective agent or the team member will get invoked, and they will do their part. So, for example, the moment I set that I want to build a reporting module, for example, and I set my objective that what exactly I need, the business analyst would be invoked, and it will talk to you. It will ask questions and clarifications. Once it has all the required details, it will pass on to the project manager, who would then divide these tasks, this larger objective in the smaller tasks, and then the subsequent agents, the developer, the QA, the DevOps, they will get invoked, they will do their job, and the whole agentic system will collaboratively work as a single team to achieve that particular objective. So that's how Singular works.
And they would be more deterministic, right? So you have defined an objective. So their goal is to go ahead and achieve those objectives, and they'll continuously work in loop until unless that goal is achieved. So that's a major difference and a shift that we see from other AI tools versus how Singular tackles this problem.
So in terms of the shift that you mentioned, the jobs would definitely be something that people would consider, right? People not trying to be a developer, they would try to be a journalist, I guess, right? So that they can become the project managers and and create products and so on and so forth, use different set of agents with the help of Singular, and can deploy the final production ready
Right.
work.
So as I said earlier, these are all manual activities that would obviously go away. So humans' role in an enterprise pertaining to software engineering would evolve in terms of strategy, in terms of decision making, in terms of thinking futuristic way of solving a problem, rather than being coders and trying to execute that manually. That's how we see this is going to evolve.
Wonderful. And what's the next set of things that you are planning in terms of Singular and apart from this event?
So, Lakshya, when we started out to solve this problem, we wanted to specifically focus on brownfield, so that because that's the dirtier, messier, and complex part of the software engineering division of the company.
Yes.
And we built in an architecture in that way that it can be as flexible in terms of customization. So imagine you as an enterprise would have a 20 years of standards and process and procedures that you follow, and you educate everybody who becomes part of your organization to do the work in that way. Now everything happens with the Singular agentic system. You pass on that information to the agents, and agents will build those qualities into their own characteristics, and they will execute in that ways.
Okay.
Right? So we set out to solve that problem, keeping human aspect into the problem, and our Singular is more like an enterprise native system. And why I say system, I'll come to you in a later part of this. But this is more enterprise native. So which means that Singular sits inside an enterprise, so that it answers to the question of data security, IP, privacy. These are very critical elements for any enterprise to decide to start using any, startup or company like Singular. So we have answered that question by making Singular sit inside their infra. Now, if we if we are able to solve this problem of brownfield, which is really complex, and end-to-end ownership in terms of outcome, imagine taking this architecture to the different divisions of the company. In terms of, you can take Synngular to finance, to marketing, to sales, to accounts, to HR, and Synngular will do the entire heavy lifting of all those work that you see in terms of number churning, working with mails, working with interdepartment tasks, workflows,
Most of the executive works.
executive works. Right, you're right. So Synngular will become a bare bone where you as an enterprise will go and add muscle to it in terms of compliances, rules, governances, guardrails, and it will work as per those defined aspects of your element of the agents should be, and be more deterministic in achieving those outcomes that you have defined. So that's where we see Synngular to be as an autonomous enterprise AI system. But we have started with autonomous brownfield AI because that's a bigger problem and a difficult problem to solve. And we think we have nailed it. We're going to take it to a next step where we see we going into all those enterprise departments of the organization.
Well, that's I think that's one of the most fabulous solution that I've seen so far in
Thank
the
you.
Web Summit. So thank you so much for all those great insights and the valuable time that you gave us. And it was wonderful talking to you both.
Thank you, Laksh. Have a good day.